Alright, I'm done talking about it.
Must have got orange shipping. Maybe they sliced it.
I can take this one together. So, that's okay with me. Alright. I'll have to get the tape and tape that one together. Are the rest of them okay? Melissa. Yo, what's up? What's up, pilot? Second here. I shall not gaming. I shall not gaming would actually be a cool name. It takes me a time whenever you guys change your name, there's a period where I gotta like reacclimate myself, and I think you did change that a while ago, but I just have to whenever it had been gone for a while, then I have to like readjust again. You got to Al-Hazak? That's who you gotta be talking about, is Al-Hazak. Yeah, that dude, Odegaron is a cool monster. I'll say that much. Oh, God. Hold on, give me a second here. I just woke up. I've been camping all weekend and I was completely just wiped out. So kinda stream, but I woke up late, so I'm just trying to get my bearings about me again. A little more fun, but the grind hurts. Dude, the grind is literally the game. If you don't like the grind in Monster Hunter, you just don't like the game. That's the sad truth behind Monster Hunter. You have to love the grind aspect of it, or else it's just not worth it. Killed Tigrex 1,000 times to get one part. You didn't get it. I think there are ways to like. I think there are ways to trade for the parts you need in the game by now, if I can't remember correctly, though. I'm still kind of mentally, like, I'm here, but kinda. Alright, let me see here. Okay. I said that I would be back today, and I'll still be off a few days this weekend, but it's not going to be quite as bad as before. And then next week I should be only off like one day, I think. 5% chance to drop it, yeah, those do happen. Alright, so I've just been shiny farming. So I'll just gotta figure I'll just talk with you guys while I shiny farm. Hopefully find a Schmalpa on the stream, which is my designation for a shiny alpha. Schmalpa. I thought I had college. It turns out I won't have it for a couple of days. Nice. Nice. Well, I even if we just get a shiny on stream, I got one not long ago. I got a Schmalka before I left for camp. So I got. So, where's the one that I got here? Yeah, I got this guy, the Vanillite. He's Alpha Shiny. The trash Pokemon is there, but not the Goat Zoroark. I don't know if he might come in the DLC, although I don't even know about that. Part of the problem with this game is it's only got, what, 230 Pokemon? So, because the area is so small, but it does feel like the game might be slightly better off for it, right? Like, I feel like when you have a ton of Pokemon, it does kind of make the game a little bit more... I don't know. Hey, starting off the stream with the shiny. Yo, what's up? Yeah, I've been kind of off on streaming for a little bit, Shaolin. How you been, man? I need to get back to it, but what happened to that? That one was like, yeah, I'm stuck in the ground. Yeah, we're just shiny right now. Small area, Graphic. I know Zoroark. I hate it because like I don't want to defend the game. Like the game isn't really deserving of defense. But like I am enjoying it, which feels wrong, right? Like it's like I know that it's objectively bad when I'm playing. Nice. Yeah, it's we'll be back like this weekend. I'll be streaming Monday and then Thursday, and then I should be back on the weekend on Saturday, Sunday. No worries, Pilot. But like to a certain degree, right? Like, we'll get a chest thing. But it's like it is true when you know, like when you're playing a game and you can see the quality is this objectively cool. Like you do feel some sense of not grief isn't the right word, but like you do feel some sense of responsibility that you're playing this game that you know is bad, and like you playing it is somewhat of an endorsement of it, but you're like, no, I don't endorse it. I just like crap. Well, because of the generational swap phase, when they release a dedicated Switch 2 Pokemon title, it'll hit. I don't know. Here's the thing about that, Shaolin. If they want to release a dedicated Switch 2, I would think they would want to release the next generation, because this generation, because of the Switch has... Because of, not the Switch, like, is the Switch. Because of the generation, like, the length of time between Scarlet and Violet and whatever Generation 10 will be, like, I would think they would want to get it out maybe next year. The problem that I see, dude, is there is no way that they can, like... Pokemon is a title that sells, like, tens of millions. And I just don't see the Switch install base, given the fact that there's not a lot of enthusiasm for it, growing at nearly the pace necessary for that game to sell like a Pokemon game sells, right? Like, everybody says it's going to be a dedicated Switch 2 title, But from Nintendo's standpoint, like, what? Maybe by next year you maybe have 20 million Switch 2s if you're lucky, and that's if you get something else, because right now, I mean, I went to my local rinky-dink Walmart in like BFE, you know, and my rinky-dink Walmart in BFE had 16 Switch 2s on stock. On stock, sitting there, want one today, buy one today, right? And like, I know they're saying, hey, Nintendo, you know, Nintendo's doing good to meet the market. They met the market, they're meeting the market a lot easier because people just don't want it. I think Nintendo should make a console like the Wii U. Yeah, dude, like there is no way we are close. We're close to the holiday season, right? It's like right around the corner. And let's put it this way. I got the original Switch came out in what, like March 2017? I got mine in October when it was just finally consistently getting on store shelves. So we got March, April, May, June, July, August, October, right? So 7 months for the original Switch to like start getting up to the point where supply was meeting demand and it was getting on shelves. When did the Switch 2 come out? Hold on. Switch 2 release date. I think it was in June? Yeah, June. Okay. So for Switch 2, we got June, July, August, September, and I want to say October, but be honest, they were on shelves by September. So they met demand within 4 months. And like, I just don't see them, like, they're not selling at the pace necessary that they need to really justify releasing an exclusive Switch 2. Particularly when nothing about Pokemon is going to really take advantage of the hardware to begin with, right? Like, there's nothing in this game that you're looking at right now that requires it to be on the Switch 2. Now, granted, Generation 10 will theoretically look better. Theoretically, mind you. I have yet to see Game Freak push the Switch. You know, to push the Switch technologically. So, what faith do I have that they will ever push the Switch 2 technologically? Like, what faith do I ever have that they will produce a game that would be worthy of needing a handheld PS4. Like, I don't have any faith in that. If they make the Switch, if they make their next game exclusive to the Switch 2, they're just doing so because they want you to buy a Switch 2. Because it's highly unlikely the game will actually need the hardware.
Horrible year with unfortunate events acquiring like the Switch 2 and Pokemon Legends EA coming to light.
No worries. Yeah, it's just the fact of I don't know what they do that is going to actually necessitate what they're going to do that's actually going to necessitate the Switch 2. And right now, Nintendo is still encouraging companies to developers and publishers to make these Switch 1. Like, Nintendo themselves is not even confident in like pushing the Switch 2 hardware hard because they would have to do so on faith that the market will behave the way they think it. I don't know if alphas, the repeat alphas can be shiny. I'm green. Yeah, one of the ones where I know the outfit is where I have not yet seen it be a shiny. Yeah, no, I'm enjoying ZA flaws and all as well, right? Like, I'm not, it's not about whether I'm enjoying the game. It's just whether about if Nintendo would have the balls to push hardware that isn't really living. You know, there's a difference between making a Switch 2 version for a Pokemon game that has maybe 20 million units. You know, if there's only 20 million possible Pokemon, 20 million Switch 2s out there at the time, right? I know that's their forecast might be, but like I said, like I'm saying, it is going at a snail's pace as far as their sales go. But no, what I'm saying has no bearing on the Switch 2 is, or if I'm enjoying ZA flaws and all. I am enjoying ZA flaws and all. I can objectively admit the problems, but objectively admitting that the game is flawed and that it has a whole lot of problems doesn't make it objectively good. Or doesn't make it, you know, like you can see all the flaws and you can still enjoy it, right? It's sort of like going to get fast food. You know it's not good for you, but it still tastes good. Even if it was like clogging your arteries. Like those things can be true. Yo, what's up, Briar Barlow? Thank you so much for the subscribe. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Thank you for joining the stream. We're just doing a little bit of shiny hunting and chatting while we wait. Yeah, well, you gotta remember, dude, I'm gonna try to catch another shiny Metagross, or not shiny. You gotta remember to a certain extent, like, Game Freak isn't markedly different as a team from the game that was producing Gen 6 and Gen 7, right? Like, they haven't really grown to meet as the hardware is improved. I don't think it will, because like Pal World is just a game, right? And I think people have to remember that Pokemon now, the game, is just really an afterthought to continue to push out new content for the trading card game, for plushies, for Lord only knows what. Like, it is such a behemoth that Pal World, while Pal World might work for what we want and might be fun for us and give us what we wish Pokemon would give us, Pokemon still, like, they don't, the game is not, like, dude, they put, what, 13 million into this game, I think, to develop this, and they're probably gonna make, you know, when all is said and done, like, the better part of $1 billion, right? Like, just producing what they're producing, and that's in a world where Pal World already exists. They're not going to change their ways. I wish they would, but like I'm not gonna sit here and, you know, believe something just because I want to believe it. Like, I don't objectively see them actually following through. I don't see them increasing the size of their team. I think it's pretty apparent too. Like, everybody looks at the Souls-like game that they're making right now, and they're like, "Oh, this actually looks pretty good. Why can't Pokemon look like this?" It's because they know Pokemon doesn't have to look like that, right? They know if they're selling a brand new IP that it has to meet industry standards. But when it comes to Pokemon, they're fully aware that they set their own standards, unfortunately. So far, I need to get a shiny counter. So far, we have gotten a shiny Snorunt on the stream. White turned into a shiny Frostlass. I wish that Froakie in the center was a shiny. Right, so I think I could still go, and in fact, I haven't returned to Pal World in forever. I should go back to Pal World and play it, because I wish Pal World had full recolor skin shinies, not the lucky things that they have, which are essentially alphas. I wish they had full-on shinies in that. You know, if they win the lawsuit outright against Pokemon, I would implement shinies just to spite them. You know, because at this point, like, Nintendo's basically being... Go, dude. There we go. Oh, I should have saved. I should have saved. Okay. From now on, playing Ark on PS4 and the console is suffering while playing. Funny to imagine playing it on the Switch One. It's wild that they released Ark on the Switch One, right? Like, I've heard it functionally just might as well not exist, right? Like, they have... Dude, we've got 2 shiny Pokemon. That's not bad. With no alphas. No shiny alphas. Like, it's not even that the Switch One can bust. It just hands down does not act, you know, adequately play it. Yo, what's up, Tomahawk? Dude, I was camping all weekend, so like I am a mess today, right? Like I fell asleep, I got started late on stream. Let me give you a shout. But yeah, things are going good. It was a good weekend. Like we went camping, it was fun. Took the kids out. It was Cub Scout camp all weekend. But yeah, like I'm definitely going to sleep well tonight. I will say that. And I am sore as all get out because we went on like a 4-mile hike, and I had to like basically carry my 4-year-old around on my shoulders the entire time, which is now like I'm paying for that today. I wanted to get the Switch One. Get the Switch One after seeing it can't run the game that was designed for it. Yeah, no, I would. If you're talking about the play art, I would not suggest getting a Switch One at all. It's just, I don't know why they put it. I don't know why they, like, mind you, they upgraded the game at one point, and then I don't know why they ever put it on there though. Wait, oh, for Breath of the Wild? Yeah, no, it's worth it for Breath of the Wild, right? Breath of the Wild is Nintendo being smart about the limitations of the hardware and designing a game around those limitations. But in the same regards, now they're like trying to sell a Switch 2 version with minor visual upgrades and being like, hey, give us another $20 for this game that you've been playing since 2017. Like, no, dude, no. Can't run well. It runs okay. Like, I played it. It's not a very demanding game. Right? Like, it's still... I'm not going to sit here and tell you, like, it runs... Yo, I appreciate Steven Pettinger. Appreciate the follow on TikTok. It runs adequately, right? It's not a super demanding game. Isn't this the one where... This is the one where we should have Pikachu, right? Pikachu? I think we need to face somebody else. Pikachu. So I'll get the alpha. I had one other alpha and I put it right here. Oh, man, it was designed for it. Isn't supposed to run. Well, I mean, it like I said, run. Wait, I gotta stop doing it. I really gotta stop doing it. Okay, alright. I gotta start saving. Alright, so that's 3 shinies on stream so far. I mean, it's, well... It depends on well, right? Well is subjective, right? If you can live with 30 frames on certain games where it occasionally dips below 30 and still enjoy. You finally finished this last night? Yeah, I got the shiny charm, got all that done. Because I really just wanted to shiny hunt in the game. But yeah, gee, that's 3 shinies this stream so far. It's pretty crazy, actually. Right, like, Bloodborne's my favorite game all time. It still runs on, like, dog water on the hardware that it's locked to. But I still enjoy the experience. How lower than 30 does it get? This will have stutters occasionally. Let's mark our shinies here. It does maintain 30 most of the time. Like, this is not a super... Wait. Oh, there he is. I was gonna say, I knew we got another one. If the game ran like Bloodborne, I wouldn't mind it. I don't know, because nothing about the combat is like, right? Like, Bloodborne requires certain levels of, like, the game requires slightly higher average frame rates to look more appealing than something like this does, right? Like, part of the reason that this game gets by with its subpar frame rate is because, like, nothing about the game really requires that intense frame rate to look okay. Also, I want to do the PvP mode in this game too. Like, I will say I've enjoyed this style of Pokemon. I'm going to, like, when Gen 10 comes out eventually, I am going to have a hard time going back to that style of combat. I'm not sure that they thought, like, this new battle system. Came up with the third smile, but I really do play. Remind me to save before we stick. What are you? I like the new combat. It's not exactly anything groundbreaking, but it's just more enjoyable. I get still having competitive and all the things that people enjoy about the the more traditional way of playing these games. But I just enjoy this more, and I am gonna have a hard time going back to Gen 10 and being like, oh, we're back to the regular old turn-based that sucks my soul out trying to play it because the combat is the least enjoyable part of the game. Like, that's going to be a tough pill to swallow when it happens. That's another reason why I don't think Nintendo has thought all this through, right? Because a lot of people just want to shiny hunt in the alpha and the wild, and they want the combat to be fun and fast and interactive, and it's like, next, you're going to have to, you're going to be asking people to buy new hardware to play a game that they need the new hardware to get that they like less than this game. Right? Like, at this point with Power World, with this game, there's a whole lot that they got going on that people are just not going to be super psyched to buy new hardware to play Winds and Waves or whatever the heck they call it, right? Like, they really are at a point now where it's like you want people to buy $400 hardware, you want people to buy it for a game that traditionally has been underutilizing the hardware that it's on, right? like there's so many that you want them to go back to an older style of game that now they've had a chance to play a game that gets away from that almost entirely. Like, right, like Arceus didn't get away from that combat entirely. Like, it was kind of a midpoint between that combat and more of a Power World style combat. This is like if Power World probably wanted to, they could. Well, they can't really, but I'm just saying, like, the idea that they have definitely taken some of what Power World did, and they've definitely taken some of what Power World did and like applied it to their franchise. And that's not to say that Arceus was CA just more so got away from like But again, like, now you're gonna want me to buy a Switch 2 to go back to an older style of game that I really am not enthused about going back to. Gonna be a tough ask. I'm not gonna lie, gonna be a tough ask. Not to say that I don't do it. I'm just to say, like, I could easily see myself waiting until something else came out on the Switch 2 other than just a Pokemon game that I... Like, Pokemon is not going to, like, excite me for buying new hardware, right? Like, I'm going to have to wait until they get other games to come out that are then going to excite me to buy the hardware so that I can then be like, okay, well, I guess I'll pick up Pokemon 2 while I'm at it. And that's not how they've traditionally sold Pokemon games. Like, that is definitely not the way they've approached the series as far as like trying to get like right now I'm like, okay, what does the Dust Bloods look like? When do we get the next Mario? When do we get the next 3D Mario? When do we get a 3D Zelda? When do we get all of these things that I'm excited about and that will actually like swallow that pill and get new hardware for? Because playing a Pokemon game that's probably going to feel redundant, probably going to have an older style of combat that I'm not particularly excited about, you know, probably not going to utilize the hardware that it's on, right? Like that's a hard game to ask to sell hardware, right? And that's the thing. Like, that's the thing with Mario Kart, right? Mario Kart World, Mario Kart sells a ton. Mario Kart sells a ton of units, but it's generally not the game you buy the hardware for, right? You generally buy the game for the Zelda, for the Mario. There's other games too, but I mean, like, those are their two big ones, but there's definitely other games, right? Metroid, another one people might consider buying hardware for. All of those games are games that I would consider buying hardware for. And then maybe since I now have the hardware, I might pick up Mario Kart, right? It's not a system seller, it just sells a lot on the system. And that's kind of what I feel like a new Pokemon's gonna be. It'll sell a lot on the system, but given the price of the system, given the limitations of the series at this point, it's gonna be tough to ask a Pokemon game to sell $400 hardware looking like it does. Right? Like, I don't know if they've considered the fact that they've gotten people so used to their subpar quality that it's like, yeah, the game sucks, but I still enjoy it. But a game that sucks, but I still enjoy it is not a game that I throw down $500 for new hardware. It just isn't. It's like a game that I can sit here and play and enjoy, even objectively understanding that it's not the greatest, right? That it's technically kind of a mess. All of that can be true, and I'll still play the game. All of that can't be true, and I'll buy new hardware to play the game. Okay, that's the part of the equation I think you're missing. The prospect of making Gen 10 exclusive. There's a far cry difference between what we'll buy hardware to play and what we'll play because we already have it. But what do I know? These are just the ramblings of a madman who's shiny hunting. You know, I fully accept that that's the case. Yo, what's up, Rogan? Rogan Howard, how you doing today? Thank you for stopping in. How is your day? How was your weekend? What did you do? Did you do anything cool? I've gotten a shiny Magikarp, and I will always catch a shiny Magikarp because it's the OG, right? And you sort of feel like you should always catch a shiny Magikarp. Right? It was my first like shiny I found in the wild in this zone in this game, and it felt like the appropriate first shiny to find in the game. Okay, well we've had 3 shinies in the stream so far. It's been actually a pretty good stream. As far as, you know, the purpose of the stream and finding the thing that we're here to find. I feel like I'm due for that stinking Froakie to be shiny in the middle. He just never is. He mocks me every time. He's like, there's only one spawn of me, and if it's not shiny, you're just not getting a shiny. This particular route, it's like no day-night variation, right? It feels like you're seeing you woke up and your dad got kicked out, and I can't cry. My sister does. That's something. Or did that all just literally happen this weekend? That's pretty hardcore. That's a rough weekend, yo. I'm sorry to hear that. Like 40 minutes ago. Whoa, yeah, that is... I'm surprised you're sitting here watching streams and with all that happening, brother. Like, the last thing I would think to do in that scenario would be, like, sit down to somebody's stream and, like... But I'm glad you're here, but, like, dang. I can't get that. I need the shiny Charmander at some point, right? Like, it's gotta show up for me at some point. Because we need a shiny. Yo, what's up, Logan? How you doing today? Thank y'all for stopping in, by the way. I do appreciate it, right? At any given moment, there's literally hundreds of thousands of streams and millions of different forms of entertainment you can be watching, so chilling here with me is always greatly appreciated. Second one gets done. Yes, second one got it. Alright, Logan my opinion on ZA, I am enjoying it, but if somebody asked me to defend it, I don't think I could. Right? I don't know if that makes sense. But it's like, it's a game that like I'm enjoying. The way I would describe the game is it's like going and getting fast food, right? Going and getting McDonald's or whatever. Take whatever pick of fast food that you want to get. Like you know what you're consuming is not good, but you still just kind of like it anyways, even though you realize it's not good for you. That's Pokemon Legends ZA, right? It is literally it has become the fast food of gaming like no other Pokemon game prior for me. I could acknowledge all of its issues. Fully would not defend the laziness with which they designed the game. It's still gaming fast food. Like, I don't know that I don't know that I would suggest somebody to pay full price for it if your budget is at all, if your entertainment budget is at all, like if you're not coming from a place of like, I got the money, I don't care, then I wouldn't get it, right? If it's all a situation of, well, I could buy it, but I don't know, man, things are kind of tight, I might want to get this instead, I would just go get whatever that thing is that you just said instead. So thank you for the subscribe. Appreciate the subscribe. Yeah, it's just like right now, there's so many games that if somebody was like, should I go play that game? I'd be like, enjoying what I'm enjoying, but I can't in good faith tell you that you should not be playing that other game, because it's probably better quality than what you're playing here. Dude, when will I ever get the shiny Pokemon? Why did they think it was good to have like one spawn point for like some of the most popular Pokemon? They're kind of fast. They're so hard to shine. You only find one of them. We don't have like any. We don't have any wild zones. Like I hope we get wild zones at least that have all of the starters in them. I feel like we're about due for another shiny as well. But watch me say that, and then the rest of the stream will get nothing. Right? Like I can't call him out with that. I can't call him out. It never ends up happening like that. I was surprised we got the shiny Pancham earlier. That one definitely, because there's only one spawn for that. It's not one that you can find everywhere like you can for other Pokemon. Shinies there. Spurs. I never see them. the shinies that are, or the alphas that are guaranteed to be alphas, I don't know if those can be shiny or not. Right? Because there's a lot of alphas in this game that are like, they're gonna be an alpha consistently, and then there's other alphas where they just randomly roll being an alpha. And I've yet to find one of those alphas that's a guaranteed alpha that is shiny. I do think they probably exist. I just haven't I don't know. It begs the question of if they can or not, right? Like the guaranteed shinies. Let's go hit this one again. Actually, I don't think the two in the center may have not re-rolled yet. We'll have to see. But I will say shiny hunting in this game, it feels really good, right? They nailed that aspect of it. I will say the combat feels better than what they've done in other games. Like, even with all my complaints about it, there are things that it does that I like, and that's why I'm playing it at the moment instead of playing something else. But I need more bottle caps. I know you can get bottle caps in these little girls, but yeah, they're pretty rare. Give me my shiny Charmander, please. Last one we got was the game. My boys right now are driving my wife insane, I think. Dude, this weekend has been, I'm glad this weekend's behind me, right? Like, I got a lot going on this weekend, even with Scouts, but like, I don't feel like it's the absolute, like, everything up until this point with working with my kids' Scouts felt pretty rough, pretty life-consuming rough. So be glad to finally get to a point where Scouts still got a lot going on with it, but it won't feel as life-consuming as it has prior to this week. Like, I still got a bunch of stuff to do with it this week, but less heavy and labor-intensive stuff. It's more relaxed. Well, not really relaxed, but like just not as crazy as getting all the popcorn out, as running the camp this weekend, like all of the worst stuff that's going on for a while is going on. I will need to get in touch, reach out to some people this week. Nothing too bad. Actually, I didn't realize there was many Abras up here is what there are. Really a shame that we don't find a shiny Abra. I'm surprised they have this many Pidgey spawns, because Pidgeys are pretty common outside of the wild zones as well. This game makes certain Pokemon extremely hard to come by, and others way too easy. There are certain areas, like you want to get yourself a shiny Beldum, so you can have a shiny Metagross, right? Like, there's like literally 2 possible spawn points for Beldum. Not even in a wild zone. Like, you have to go into like a little dungeon area, right? There's certain Pokemon in this game where I just don't understand why they, in a game where they know people shiny hunt, why they made so few possible options to find to find that shiny. Right? If you want a shiny Gibble. Not only are shiny Gibbles like very rare because they're a rare roll, you also have to like run over them so they pop out of the ground and then just hope that they're shiny. Like there are certain Pokemon in this game that is just, it's gonna feel like it's darn near impossible to farm them as shinies. Which I guess, you know, there's games where finding
That's my purse! I don't know you!
Yo, what's good, Aphid? How you doing, brother? Yeah, he was doing really good on the shiny earlier. Feels like it's gone kind of close now. I think by tomorrow I should have Goat and all of those things back. Alright, time to go back and get not a shiny Froakie again. Oh man. So yeah, I'm gonna be this week. I think I can finally start getting the schedule back up. Maybe tomorrow after. I've had to like neglect that. I didn't finish Christmas Resurrection. I should go back. There's been a few games where I have not followed through. I haven't beat Expedition 33 yet. Both of those are games that I've streamed that I do want to go back and finish at some point. Because I think the one I got stuck on was that one shield boss. Too many good games, not enough life. I feel like these mega publishers who are making these absolutely crap-tastic games that they're asking people to buy don't really realize that truth, right? Right, like, Dragon Age is the Veilguard. Like, that's a game that they ask people to buy. They ask people to put money down on buy it. In a world where there are so many good games that people haven't played, right? Yeah, The Outer Worlds 2 seems good so far. The Outer Worlds 2, I played the first one, and my view of that one was, it's fine, right? Like, it's one of those games where it's like, it was okay, it was fine. Maybe someday I'll look into it. Not at the price point that they have so far, and I don't really have any. I don't have any interest in getting Game Pass, so. I just don't interact with games the way Game Pass is. Even though I realize there's always a question of whether I don't have to experience it. Again, it's a game I might try someday, but like the first one, I didn't have a negative experience with the first one. I thought it was relatively fun, but not something that I'm like, oh my god, I have to play the sequel. Like, or at least, oh my god, I have to play the sequel right away. Because I never beat the first one. I played a decent bit of it, but I never beat it. I think that it's wild that they thought that that game would be, like, that people would pay $80 for that. The thing of it is right, the industry wants to raise prices to $80, but they have not figured out how it's going to work at all. Like, at this point, it just feels like something that they want to do that they don't know how to actually accomplish. Right? And they're all sitting waiting for for them. But what they don't get is GTA is the one that breaks that barrier, right? Like, I think when we went from 60 to 70, wasn't there like 2K or something that was like the first game to go to base 70? Right? And so when you're the first game to go to base 70, you set the expectation of quality for what a $70 title is. You do not want GTA to be the one breaking the glass ceiling going to 80, because then GTA becomes the expectation for players of what an $80 game looks like. You thought it was Call of Duty? Let me see on that, because I'm not 100% sure on that. NBA 2K21 was the first game to break the $60 to $70 price barrier. I thought that was the case, but I wasn't entirely sure about it. But, right, you don't want... If GTA is the game that goes, okay, we're going to 80, which I don't think GTA would, because how does GTA make money? GTA makes money by buying copies on multiple platforms. That's why they did later release on PC, because they know that's what people ultimately want to play it anyways. And then they want you to get into the online so that you can buy shark cards or whatever the heck they'll call them. I don't play sports games either. I was just aware that that was the first one that went to base 70. You know, they want you, they don't want to necessarily, it doesn't behoove them to go to a higher base price for GTA. Feels like the industry, Mom, get the camera to get awesome stream. What's up, Ghost Boy? Let me give you a shout out, brother. I gotta give Aphid a shout out too. I talk more than I actually function. I'm gonna give Aphid a shout out first, but I got you in just a second here. I give you a shout out. This little shirtless turd who bothers me during stream. Is that the shout out that you want?
Yeah.
The shirtless turd shout out. It's my shirtless turd, everybody.
Shirtless turd.
I'm just kidding. I just love giving you grief. I just love giving you grief. Are you still playing Spider-Man? He just got. I was just finally able to get him a PS5 for his birthday, so he's been playing Spider-Man on it.
I've been playing with Roblox.
On the outside, and it doesn't even matter, no, because I am ready, and I will not let this opportunity slip through my fingers. Cup of coffee, man, yeah.
I can put I want you to beat Spider-Man before I go putting Fortnite on.
Wow, man!
Put it on it.
But you don't. You have all of those things. Do you have your account signed into it? Well, then I wouldn't play it, because we need to actually figure out your account. Because you have a bunch of skins and stuff. We gotta figure out what your Epic account is so that we can sign it into your. Yeah. Yeah. It's not like we're gonna.
Like my account is probably like.
Well, most of your stuff is all Battle Pass stuff, but you have done a lot of Battle Passes.
Yeah, I've been fighting for like 5 seasons.
Yeah. So we gotta figure out your Epic account and sign back into
and
it.
I have older skins that I bought.
Yeah, you bought a few, but most of them I would say are probably.
And old packs.
Yeah, most of them are probably. You definitely. That's the thing with that one. I don't know what a shiny looks like. It has a What? It probably just powered off because you walked away from it for a while. I don't think Logan knows how to turn off your PS5, dude. Is this off-brand Power World? That's actually what it should be called at this point, right?
Oh yeah, it should be called off-brand Power World.
I really do hope that after the lawsuit, if Power World just outright wins the lawsuit, You know, in Power World they have like the Lucky Pals, right? Which they're more alphas than they are shinies, and I think to a large part they did that to avoid Nintendo's gauge, so to speak, right? Like I think they didn't put traditional shinies in Power World because they were already doing so much that they just was hoping that Nintendo would leave them alone. I hope after they lose the lawsuit that they put in like legitimate shinies in the Power World. Right? It's like at this point, like Nintendo's already tried to sue you, right? Like why dance around it? Why worry about their ire? The trademark of the catching monsters because of public outrage, if you didn't see that. To be fair, I don't think Nintendo wasn't even the first game that like to use that mechanic. Right? The idea that you could own a patent for something that you didn't even invent is wild. I mean, I understand that they popularized it, but in no way did they actually like innovate the process or like change anything about it. That's a hard fight, bud. That's a fight that's probably gonna take you a little while to get used to it. Yeah. Love how in Japan that trademark down because of how yeah, it is wild, right? This is Uncharted. Nintendo has had unmitigated legal success before, and it's actually wild to see Nintendo in a position where like they're finally getting called out on their crap. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the first time Nintendo's ever actually had to wrestle with the fact that like what they were doing is completely garbage, and like the actual legal world is forced to go, oh okay, no, we can't just give you everything because you want it, because that feels like how Nintendo's operated, particularly in Japan prior to now. And I think just this time their crap was so egregious that like the rest of the world had to like call it out, and now Japan can't look like just do Nintendo's bidding without looking silly now. So like they have to actually like act somewhat like a serious entity in how they're addressing it. Right? Like Japan courts were so willing before to just be Nintendo's like, you know, their hammer to swing at whoever they wanted to swing it at. Now they've done something so egregious and ridiculous that even the rest of the world is like, no, hold on, you didn't make that. What are you two trying to patent things that you didn't even create? So, you know, now that the rest of the world is legally calling Nintendo out on their nonsense, it finally forces Japan to call into question things that should have been called into question a long time ago. And like I said, if I was Power World, the second that court case is done, we'll keep going. But remember, the reason that we play games like, you know, Souls games and stuff like that is because we don't give up. That's what I want to teach you about gaming. Don't give up. Hard stuff is good because it's hard sometimes. I fully accept how that goes. It was because of Ark, Monster Hunter 4, and I think Digimon. It's not hard, but I mean, like, it's definitely like you can fail at it, right? You can fail, like you won't one-shot well, you might one-shot everything because of the ridiculous amount of times that you played it. You'll show me something hard. Your mom shows people something hard, and I don't know how that works, but dang. What was because of Ark and Monster Hunter 4 and Digimon? Are we talking about the catching mechanic? Because I think it was Shin Megami Tensei that originally predates the original Pokemon games that has that mechanic in it. Like there are games, there are design aspects from going back to like the Dragon Quest series that Nintendo's copied, right? Like the things that Nintendo is trying to own right now are not things you really own. Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't understand how those games necessarily apply to the patent. Like, I would have to look at what patent they declined because of those games and what reason that they gave for declining that patent. Because those games don't have the catching mechanic in them, right? Were they talking about, what about the patent for like riding on something's back that Nintendo also thinks that it owns for God only knows what reason? Because there's multiple things that they're claiming that they own the rights to, but they clearly don't own the rights to it. Being a thing that does it and is popular doesn't necessarily mean you own the thing. And that's really what it boils down to Nintendo. It's like, we have popular games that have this idea in it, hence we own that idea. Which is just a ridiculous asinine premise on its face. According to Nintendo, they own games at this point. That is honestly how they feel about it. It's not even a stretch, right?
Yes.
You beat him?
Yeah.
Good job, bud.
That was only my third try. I think I thought I did.
Well, keep at it. If you are almost beat him, then wait, is that shiny? Oh no, that's a star. Yeah, I thought that was a shiny magic card. FromSoft should trademark boss fights. They really should, right? Because they're a game that's popular and they have boss fights in them, and that's literally how we decide if you own ideas anymore, right? Yo, what's up, Zeno? How you doing? We're talking about the ridiculousness of Nintendo's legal actions and the things that they think they own that they clearly do not own. So that's the topic of discussion. Welcome in, by the way. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. Steam should copyright the term video game. Yeah, Steam should copyright. Yeah, right. They're a popular platform and they sell video games, so they clearly own the rights to calling a thing a video game. They could sue PlayStation. They could sue Sony today because clearly Sony is infringing upon their right to call things video games. Crowbars as well. Valve owns Left 4 Dead, right? So they should own the rights to zombies. Because they own a popular thing that has zombies in it. Hence, they own the term zombies and the rights and the likeness. Yeah, that's how ridiculous Nintendo is, right? Like the entire things that they're patenting is like, you didn't even make any of those. There were other things that were far more popular, you know, or not maybe more popular, but far predate. That would be, you know, it would be like, having like a new form. No, that's not true. Forget what I was going with that. It wasn't good. It was good in my head, and then I said it out loud, and then it wasn't good anymore. Santa Monica Studios should copyright Norse and Greek mythology. That's true. They are popular, and those things are in there. Hence, they own those things because we've established that that's how it works. I own a popular thing that has idea in it. I own all ideas in it, even if I did not originate them. I will give the Nintendo one credit on one aspect. I can't believe I found so many shinies to begin. I will give Nintendo credit. The absolute balls to claim that they own the things that they claim they own is almost impressive, right? Good. Shout out real. The idea of trademarking game mechanics shouldn't be allowed in the first place. Yeah, right. Like the what's the Nemesis system that I is it Ubisoft that still owns that? What are you doing? Shut up. In the idea, like I get if here's the thing I will give you. If the thing that you're patenting is ultra specific and has like at least mechanically changes the thing in a way that's specific to your game, sure. But I mean ultra specific. The idea of like, I'll give you one that I think Nintendo could actually sue Power World for, and maybe if they patented it this specifically, then I could give them legal credit. You know how, like, if when you catch a Pokemon, the 3 shakes that the ball does before you catch it? Well, I think for Power World, there's like 3 checks, but I believe the checks are indicated in some sort of shape, right? Like it'll shake on screen, and then there's like an actual catch rate attached to it, but it still does like the 3 shakes. I could see if Nintendo wanted to go after Power World for that, right? Like you can't have a catch mechanic that has 3 checks in it that are indicated by a shake and a sound, right? That's specific. That's something that I can't necessarily say another game has done. If they were to like put their criteria specifically on like the 3 shake check, I could give them that. But they literally tried to act like they owned the entire idea of like catching creatures. If they copy the idea of evolving monsters, are they going to have to fight with Digimon because Digimon was first? And that, but yeah, definitely creating unique randomizers and ways to play older games. $4 million lawsuit. Yeah, they don't like people coming back and making their titles interesting, right? Because that means they no longer have control of their title, and to them, control is more important than if the thing is like, you know, it's absolutely wild how little Nintendo understands about how the human brain works when it comes to entertainment, right? Like they can make a good game, but like if somebody comes by and is like putting up if somebody comes up and they make a ROM of a 3DS game that modifies the game, Nintendo thinks you should go out and buy that game and play only their rendition of how they envision that game. And it might be they're right, but it's not wise, right? Like, at the end of the day, the randomizer is what it attaches people to the product. You want people attached to your IP. You want people attached to the product you create. They're so they're so like cut off your nose to spite your face that they're like, no, we expect you to hunt down and buy an aftermarket version of an older console so that you can play this thing exactly how we did and not add anything new or fun to the concept. And it's like, if you just let it slide, right? Somebody could rob a game, and it's like, maybe they build an attachment to that IP that they are then more inclined to support new titles. Never a proper version of Ash's Greninja. Yeah, no, there's a lot of things they could do that would have worked out well for them. I don't know about the merging thing. The idea of the few Pokemon fusions I think is cool, but that's never really something that was like made into a game. It was more of a concept of like, what would these things look like together, how that actually like balances out in a game where, you know, you would have to like create move sets and abilities for all of these, for like an infinite number of fusions that would all have to have mechanics that are already supported in the title. I do think there is a level of things you can support and things you can't. Funny, because even though Nintendo hates when others use emulators, they got caught using them. They won't sue though, because if they do it, it could come completely legal, so that they can down instead. They have sued people for selling aftermarket cells through. They're so ridiculous, right? They have one of the most valuable. They have one of the most valuable back catalogs you could imagine. And they're did you finally beat them? Good job, bud. They have one of the most valuable aftermarket, or not aftermarket, one of the most valuable back catalogs ever. That they could literally charge people a la carte, where they could buy whatever they wanted and they would make tons of money. Instead, they want you to pay for this really crappy $20. Like the way that they want to distribute their back catalog is the most asinine thing I've ever seen. Like, could you not be shiny? I wish you were shiny. The idea would satisfy Nintendo's greedy side. They developed ROMs where you have to put the serial code or whatever the game is, so that they know you already. The problem with that is, Zeno, is even if you, let's say, like, first off, the ROMs and emulators are not on the platform, right? So they don't want people modifying their platform, their hardware. So you would have to do it on hardware that they don't own, and that's the rub for Nintendo. They don't want you to have access to their titles not on their platform. The question is that wise for them? Yeah, if they would just sell their games, they would make a ton of money. I think the idea is, though, that they want you to continuously pay for this subscription service, but it's like, if they had their entire back catalog available, like, I pay $20 a month, or not $20 a year to be able to play their titles, right? You know, to play online, because they'll occasionally come a game that I want to play online, so I might get a full year, I might only get it, 3 months or whatever. But like, I guarantee you, if they just like started releasing their back catalog, then I'm probably spending way more than $20 a year on that. Like, I just don't see a world in which I'm not spending more than what I'm currently spending if they release their product in that manner. Nintendo was in its prime around GameCube and 64 and Wii. No, I'll be honest. Nintendo was in its prime in the Super Nintendo era because they were doing nonsensical stuff even going back to the N64 era, right? The idea that they still wanted to produce cartridges when they knew full well that there were games that couldn't release on their system because of the limitations of cartridges. And they were spitting in the face of technology going back to the N64. And the GameCube is another too. It's like, okay, we'll give you discs, but not the way you want discs. We'll give you discs the way we want discs. Like, Nintendo has always had this idea that they control, like they always have had this thing where they have to have control over everything, even things that there's no way in the end that they can control, right? And they'll do it despite themselves. Like the N64 sold less units and pushed less software because they fought against a format that was clearly superior to what they were doing at the time. Like their prime was the Super Nintendo era because that was the last time they were the dominant force within the industry. That they were and it was because at that point they were setting the standards for how games were experienced in a console market. Right? The N64 was the first time they relinquished that crown because control was more important than market share. And there's no world in any business, particularly in the entertainment space, where control is more important than market share. Nintendo was also being advertised for adults. The DS. Well, I will say this, they were in the dominant space in the handheld, but like I never felt like they really had legitimate competition within the handheld space. I will say I think they understood the handheld space, but it was because a lot of the controls that they wanted to push onto console space made sense in a handheld environment. When games were limited to tech, it was better for gaming because it forced creativity. It did.
What?
I won't lie, like the PS2 era was probably the era in which people were taking flyers and just doing stuff because they, like the PS2 era felt like the era where it felt like the last era where, well, no, it was a little bit in the PS3 360 era, but the PS2 era, it was like you could want to make a game and you could make a game with like a really low budget and like it was the PS2 was when indie games were kind of like just titles that were based on the system, right? Like indie games kind of existed in that era, but they were just games in that. They were just games that released. Right, like there was a game on PS2. I think the game was called Primal that I really liked, where you played this girl and you could like change into. Essentially, what it was you could change into different animal forms, and then they would have different powers, and that would help you explore the world. It wasn't like it didn't do anything revolutionary per se, but it was a really fun game that explored that idea, and I feel like in today's environment, that game is probably an indie title. By the way, Apple Moss, thank you for stopping in. Sorry, I should have said hi immediately when I addressed your question, but like I get talking and get running my mouth and then forget to be a good streamer and greet people when they come in. I have a tendency to just like kind of go off on tangents, and I'm like, oh yeah, I should like welcome the viewer rather than just ranting entirely from the beginning of the stream to stream time. But I am a natural game. PS2 was so amazing. Hill 2, Sly Cooper. Yeah. I'll tell you one title that I missed, and this is PS1 era title, actually, that I wish would get some sort of, like, new, maybe budget entry, because I feel like there's a lot of titles that have gone by the wayside that I think could come back now on, like, much smaller budgets and make something that, like, actually people would find interesting. Like, titles like The Suffering or Nightmare Creatures that have, like, long since been abandoned that have some nostalgia built into them, and if you were to approach it with a lower budget team, I think those games could probably turn a profit. The problem is the gaming industry has fallen in love with this idea that they're gonna release a game and it's gonna be like the next, I don't know what they exactly, not necessarily the next COD. Like, people keep thinking they're gonna make games that are gonna make all the money in the world, and so they shy away from making games that are actually just good ideas that could. The Suffering was really good, and like I said, The Suffering and Nightmare Creatures are two titles that I would really love to have back today in some form or capacity, if it could be done in a way. Like, if you could make a sequel to The Suffering today that didn't necessarily need to make $100 million to turn a profit, right? Like, what the industry needs to do is not make these massive, throw all the money at the wall titles that they seem to want to do. What they need to do is make the titles where, you know, maybe you put 20 million into it and you get 200 million out of it, right? And that's not going to necessarily keep your company afloat by itself. But if you can find a strategy where you can do 5 or 6 of those a year, right? Like, you know, it's not necessarily like they need to reevaluate a business model that can actually be successful for them. Realistic graphics, having to be safe, but every time the company makes something different. Yeah, at the end of the day, that just boils down to the fact that I don't think corporations, entertainment corporations are inherently an institution that is not going, can they make something that you can consume? But they can't make something that is actually, like, super entertaining, because they're putting so much money behind things that they think, okay, well, if I'm going to put this much money behind something, like, I can't take chances. But entertainment, in and of itself, to make entertainment that's worth consuming, you have to be willing to take chances. But they're being made by these giant corporations that are, because of the amount of money that they're throwing into the medium, are automatically trying to make things risk averse. But the problem is risk averse things aren't exciting, right? And when you make entertainment, you have to embrace the idea of risk. Whenever you're in something that's inherently creative, there's an inherent level of risk in creation. And so when you're, you know, throwing $300 million behind a game, what you're ultimately going to make is going to be something that the consuming brain will understand. This is risk averse. This is not pushing the boundaries. This is not trying to be something that I have to consume, or something that feels great. It's all about, yeah. But yeah, that's ultimately, I feel like, where we're at the moment, is like, the industry has got so much money and is so risk averse. What? You want up? You have destroyed my body this weekend. I am so sore because of you, sir.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's because of you. Because of you, Daddy's sore, you did it to me. Because of you, you needed a piggyback ride for 4 miles.
For 4 miles.
Looking for shinies. Because of you, Daddy's back is a mess now. Shinies? What are shinies? Shinies are Pokemon that are just that. They're shiny. Right? They don't look like regular Pokemon because they're a shiny version. They have different colors. I'm gonna come up here and see if we see any shinies. It's crazy to think GTA 6 has to cost over $1 billion to make so far. Be $2 billion when it's done. Yeah, but you know, they at least have a track record of making things that people will pay to consume, right? Like, part of the reason GTA can get away with it is because they have such a long track record of making things that, you know, break ground. Like 2K at least understands that GTA it has to reinvent the wheel to exist, right? Like if GTA 6 is just upgraded GTA 5, don't be surprised when it underperforms, right? Like they really do try to innovate and push boundaries, but like I think they honestly have to push the boundaries. But again, here's the thing. You know, with their products that there's a quality to what they're going to produce. And so there's a level of trust to that quality. Now, the thing that I don't think people factor in is they haven't released anything since 2018. And a lot of companies have gone creatively bankrupt with new hirings since that time. So the idea that they're completely immune to that effect is not likely to be the case, right? I don't feel as if when we do get GTA 6, some of the quality loss that we've seen across the industry is bound to have affected it. You know, to what degree that effect is. The fact that we're seeing like the second major delay with them does ultimately lead me to question if that title looks like what it should look like.
Upstairs, sir. Go clean it.
People for unionizing. I do think, here's the thing though, right now the development community as a whole is so weak that I don't think the idea, like, at the end of the day, like, I don't know if the idea of a union for game developers right now, because the industry has engaged in, like, nonsensical hiring practices and, like, you know, valuing things in an entertainment industry that ultimately aren't entertaining, and, you know, valuing ideas in an entertainment industry that aren't ultimately entertaining. That the idea that you could unionize, because like there are so many projects that are underwater because they just aren't ultimately something that people want to consume. So the idea that you could unionize in an environment like that is kind of ridiculous, because right, like you need to fix these studios, and fixing these studios ultimately means you have to lay off people, right? You have to bring in new ideas. You have to reform cultures within these studios. The idea that a union would come in and be like, you can't fire them. That's having that mentality enter a creative workspace, a space that's based around entertainment, is like, here's the thing. If you get developers within a studio who ultimately start affecting the product. You know, and it could be for ideals, it could be for talent disparity, it could be for, you know, lack of proper knowledge of certain engines, it could be for a lack of a lot of different things. The problem is when you get a union in there and they're saying, well, you can't get rid of this person, you can't get rid of that person. At a point, the product can become so corrupted by the inability to control the staff that you just have to shut the whole studio down. Unions can be pretty bad at times, however, when they don't pay their workers good, when a company makes millions a year, it doesn't give them much of a choice. But again, that's only going for companies that make that kind of money. The problem is, Ghost Boy, so many of these companies right now are putting that type of money into the games, and they're not getting that type of quality out of the games, right? So like the idea, okay, let me take the game that's like perfectly mid, that's like universally mid. Like the idea that you could have, I hate to say this because I know Aphid is liking Outer Worlds 2 right now. I won't say this about Outer Worlds 2 specifically. What was the other game that they made earlier this year? I'm trying to think of the name of the game. It's so, the game was so mid that I have to literally look up the name of the game. Avowed. If you think that after producing a product like Avowed that was so forgettable, I literally had to look up the name of the game, even though I've played the game, right? If you think you can unionize and produce something that is that forgettable, there's absolutely no way. Outer Worlds 1 wasn't. I honestly, Aphid likes it, and I like, again, I'm playing a game that I can't really call out anybody on liking anything right now, right? Like, I'm playing probably one of the lowest effort games imaginable, so I'm not gonna sit here and call out anybody for liking what they're liking. But like, if you think, given Outer Worlds 2 doesn't look like it's doing particularly great right now, and Avowed was so forgettable, I literally had to look up the name of the game because my brain had erased it from existence just because it was that forgettable for me. Like, you can't unionize that right now, right? Like, if you were to unionize Obsidian based off their recent production and what it means for Microsoft financially, the only recourse Microsoft has left if you unionize in that environment is shutting the entire studio. After making RDR2, so many of the people who worked on it left Rockstar for the treatment of them not getting paid. Well, again, too, I think that begs the question of, again, I don't think mega corporations are necessarily a creative outlet for people who want to make creative things. And so many people run to these so many good developers will run to these mega corporations and think that that's the answer to them financially. But like, you have to understand too that the devil is in the details, right? Like, there are people who are making studios and making AA games and seeing huge success because they gamble on themselves, right? If you want to go to a Rockstar and, you know, have relative safety that the product that you make is not going to bomb, that is a choice. It is definitely a choice, but you are in an environment, you are in an industry which has the freedom to make games however you want to make games. So you can go make your own AA studio and make the thing that you want to make, and have realistic, not have, unrealistic burnout, and make the product that you want to make. but they go to these, you know, Take-Twos, and they go to these Ubisofts, and they go to these whatever. Well, part of that is you are now entering a business structure, a monetization structure that is not going to prioritize your creative freedom, right? Like they're not there to, they're there solely to make money. So like your ideas can't just like, you can't test things out in that environment. And so like, yeah, they have, you know, awful work hours, and they, you know, there's a whole litany of things, but the ultimate problem is you're trying to create something in an uncreative environment. Right? Like everybody thinks GTA 6 is gonna change the industry. What happens if GTA 6 is just mediocre? Like nobody has ever stopped. I mean, we've had GTAs that aren't necessarily like, yeah, Charmander. We've had GTAs that have not, you know, changed the world, right? GTA 4 was, there's a lot of people who love it in hindsight, but it was not, at the time, it was not viewed as a fantastic entry in the series. You know, if GTA 6 comes out and it's a, you know, and it has the same, if it lands with a thud like GTA 4 kind of did, like you could be talking about having to shutter half that studio with companies with unions that were terrible for us, but we couldn't get rid of the people who were the root of the problem, so we kept losing good workers because of it. I'm not a fan of them overall, however, I see why people go to them for mistreatment. I do think that they serve a purpose. I think that unions within industry jobs were ultimately like you're creating a product that existed before you came in there is one thing that makes sense. I think that unions in an environment in which you're making a creative, collaborative piece of entertainment is a bad idea, because you don't want, ultimately creative entertainment is about ideas and execution, and you don't want to be limited to being forced to absorb bad ideas into your product. And because a union in a creative, collaborative environment is going to force you to have some level of bad ideas seep into your product that you can't control or remove. And so the question is, in a corporate gaming space where everything's money based, how do they make that math, you know? You'll just cause drama? No, you're not going to cause drama, dude. You can challenge me. Like, if you have, like, there's never a situation in which somebody can't have an idea contrary to my own, and I'm going to take it personally, you know? Like, don't feel afraid to say whatever's on your mind. I'm not going to take it personally. I may not agree with you. If I disagree with the comment, I may push back with my own ideas, but I'm never going to, you know, be disrespectful or anything like that. More 2020 era of workplace stuff. Bald, LOL. That is true. That is true, Aphid. That is an accurate burn. I will give you that. Yeah, but the mere. Let's put it this way. I know what you're sort of getting at, Ghost Boy. At least I have a good idea of what you're getting at. And the fact that you can't even talk about it is just it just goes to reinforce what I'm saying, right? Like the fact that there's even a point of like considering talking about that stuff, you need to get down. The fact that you even take some time to consider the ramifications of talking about those things is the exact point. Right? Like, how do you create in that environment? And like, how do you create in that environment, and what do you ultimately end up creating? If you're afraid to talk, like if you have a moment of concern about talking about the workplace environment, then it's like, how do you introduce a union into that? Right? You get these studios where you get these bad ideas infiltrating them, and then you unionize them so that the company can't even like weed out the bad ideas to try to like make the product better. Like that's not a situation you can fix. Then that's a situation where you just fire everybody because you have no other choice. Yeah, no, it is sad, but like again, that type of thing is so ingrained in what's going on right now that you can't you can't introduce a union into that environment. You can't introduce the ability to not evaluate creative and entertaining ideas based on their merits. Like, it just doesn't work. And then unfortunately that is so thick in the industry right now that like you just can't unionize the industry, because so many of these studios, because those ideas have permeated the culture of those studios, right? Like you have to have the ability to root that out, or else you just have to shut the studio down. Right? We keep on looking at GTA as if they're immune to all of this. There's no evidence that that's true. Right? The last game they produced was in 2018, and it was a historical piece that ultimately just had to accurately portray the period in time that it came from. So, or at least attempt to its best of its ability. But you know, when was the last time that they produced something where they were like had complete creative control? Had to have been Neon. Had to have been Neon. I would kill for a shiny right now. We got 3 shinies to start the stream. Wait, not a shiny. Like, if you want to talk about unions, like in a steel mill or something where you're creating an industrial product which is then going to be used to create something else, okay, yeah, I get that, because you're not trying to create a piece of entertainment. You're not trying to create something that's got to be subjectively interesting. There's just too many there's just too much subjectivity to entertainment. Allow an environment where you can't separate the wheat from the chaff as far as ideas go. It's messed up, but I kind of hope GTA 6 doesn't do so well. Problems in the industry and everything after 2020. I think even if GTA 6 does well, the problem is that's one product, right? Like the industry still has all the problems, right? Even if GTA 6 doesn't do so well, it doesn't change anything for the rest of the industry. Right? Like, they want GTA 6, I was talking about this earlier, they want GTA 6 to be the first game to push the $80 mark. What they don't understand is, to the consumer, then, that's what becomes an $80 value proposition. Right? So you want your game to be $80. By the way, that is pathetic. That is, look at that. This is how you pass time. Look at that shadow. That is, like, you couldn't have thought of a better way to pass time. You literally, like, you have to have this pixelated ass shadow move frame by frame across the entire ground. Like, that's how little effort they put into anything, right? Like, the reason being is the position of the moon and how they decided to move it in the game. And so you got that shadow just slowly creeping over. That is so bad. They wanted it. I don't think they ever did, right? There are people who wanted them to sell it for 100. That's different than them wanting to sell it for 100. Because ultimately, if you're 2K, you can't afford to charge $100 and have, you know, you can't afford to have a third of your market decide not to buy the game, and then a third of your market isn't buying microtransactions in the offer, right? Like, at the end of the day, the industry needs to realize they want games to be base $80. Games haven't really been base $80 for a long time, right? Because of the fact that there's so much different monetization strategies pushed into the games. The idea that you want to build a game with all these different microtransactions in it. I don't think there was ever any official, like, Take-Two spokesperson who said that was their intent or that was their desire. I thought that was just other people within the industry who wanted them to do that. Mind you, all of the discussion about GTA 6's price or what they want their price to be has not come from Take-Two. If you're Take-Two, you would much rather sell a base 70 game and get everybody under the sun to buy it so that everybody under the sun can potentially pay for microtransactions in the online. Dude, I have not seen a shiny. It was like bam, 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 and then nothing. Now, let's put it this way. I'm sure if the industry wanted to, I'm sure the industry has, like, I'm sure Take-Two would charge $100 for their game if they knew they would sell just as many copies as what they were going to sell at 70, right? The problem is like, increasing the price doesn't mean this. It means an altogether different group of people end up ultimately buying. And then when an ultimately different group of people end up buying the game, what does that look like as far as like being able to have like monetization strategies that rely heavily on quantity of consumer within the market? Right? Like, you have to create a game that people will spend the money on. Like, you know, is it worth it to you to charge $100 for a game and then lose a third of your potential market? And then that third of a potential market will likely never bother, like, they won't engage with any of the other monetization structures that you've tried to build in the game. I feel like we just need one more good shiny. As long as they don't pull what Saints Row did, the game will make their money back, but they're not making that. They're not spending that money just to make it back, right? Like, the idea that it's like, oh well, as long as it's not Saints Row, it'll make their money back. If all it does is make their money back, it was an abysmal waste of time. Right? right? Like they need a game that will, you know, that will generate billions and billions of dollars of income. So that's ultimately what they need to be successful. You know, making one's money back is not a successful business strategy. Right? Like right now, Ghost of Yotei probably made its money back for Sony. I don't know that it's, and I'm sure it's turned some profit. I'm sure it's more than made its money back because they actually put the budget on that game. But the game is not successful for them because it made their money back. Aliens at the end of the game, you take over the universe. I don't see that happening. It would be interesting for them to go in a completely different environment, a completely different idea. But I think people who play GTA expect a certain level of realism. It would probably not behoove them to mess with people's expectations, I guess, for lack of a better term. Okay, I think this will be the last one for the night. It started off so good. Everything started off so good in this stream, and then it just kind of cratered. Well, not the stream was good. I just mean the overall luck with shinies. Started off really well, and then just start off with 3 back-to-back shinies. But I don't mind hitting a wall in a stream. Like I don't mind just having a shiny stream where I don't necessarily get a lot of shinies because, well, we did get a good amount of shinies, but I don't mind hitting a wall as long as I have people to talk to. That's the one thing I think is fun about shiny farming and streaming is like. Ultimately, it's about getting shinies, but if you don't get the shinies, like, it matters less because you're not just, like, you're doing it while you're doing something else that takes the precedence and is the more important thing. I would love a shiny Charmander. I mean, I think it would be a good gesture. I don't know if those things would be, I don't know if those, like, predetermined. I don't think I've seen one of the predetermined ones be shiny yet. Really quite a shame. But yeah, it'll be interesting when GTA 6 comes out. I wonder if it doesn't get, I think everybody thinks it's gold now, but I am not entirely convinced that they don't delay it again. Saints Row 1 and 2. Well, I don't know the Deep Silver. They're one of the few studios I think doesn't need to do remasters at this point. I feel like, and if all you're gonna do is remaster a game, I feel like you could probably get away without certain. Ooh, there we go. Let's actually save now. There we go. All right, we got the finish on a shiny. And it was actually a pretty good shiny, right? Like, that was definitely a shiny I wanted to get at some point. Dark Souls remastered, these are remastered. They should remaster Dark Souls 2 at this point. I know Dark Souls 2 is not like the game that everybody loves in the series, but I feel like you do need to remaster that at some point, right? Anyways, guys, let's go ahead and raid out to somebody here. I should be back tomorrow. I don't think I have anything going on. I don't think I have anything going on in that regard. Who's doing what here? Who's doing something? Who's doing something? I don't know who any of these are. Dude, I've been not streaming for a while, and I come back, and it's like, dude, I don't know who any of these people are to rate them. Like, dude, where are my regulars? Did everybody just take a break when I took a break? Because that kind of sucks. Okay, well, I'm gonna let's see. I'm gonna send you to B Walnuts. He's playing some Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver. Think that could be pretty interesting. Would you rather watch a watch, or watching a watcher? The second one. The second one, Aphid. All right, guys. I will see you all tomorrow. Appreciate you all. And we'll probably do some shiny farming tomorrow, but I'm going to start thinking about getting back to Expedition 33, maybe getting back to First Berserker, all of that good stuff. Anyways, appreciate you guys. We'll catch you next time. Until then, guys, get awesome. I don't know why I wait to start the raid, and then I do the sign-off, and then I start the raid process, knowing that there's a 10-second counter on it. All right, now we're raiding out. Until next time, guys, get off.